Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to do some illusion style nails. We're going to do two different designs. Going to start off by polishing our nails white, and I did apply 2 layers of this, allowing it to cure in between. So then you're going to take the skinniest liner brush that you have and make lines going across the nail. As you guys can see, I already have two. I'm working on my third one. My nail is fairly long, so I am able to create more lines. The important thing is that you leave a good amount of space in between the lines. And if you're having issues making the curved lines like I am, you can definitely just make straight lines going across. I do feel like the curved lines just add a little something extra to the design. After you're done making all of the lines, you want to go ahead and cure that so your lines are set and we don't mess anything up. Now we're going to go in and create those curved lines going down the nail. It's really important when you're making these curved lines that you pay attention to which way you're curving it in each space. So I am just turning my brush as I go down so that the curves are alternating. So you see here how we have like a path and both lines match up. They're both curving the same way and they're both turning different ways in each space. I hope that makes sense to you guys, but you can pause it and take a look at how my nail looks. So after I'm done, I am going to cure those lines. And FYI, I was able to make 2 lines. I don't want it to look too crowded or jumbled up, even though my nail was big. So I just made 2 lines, and now I'm going in with that black gel polish and I'm going to fill in every other square. Well, it's not really a square, but every other space with black gel polish and leave all of the other spaces white. So it's basically just creating a checkered board design. Also, really important, try to make the lines as thin as possible and try not to make them too dark. You can see one of the spaces, I have a line that's a little messed up, and that's fine because I knew I was going to go back in to that space and polish it black, but just be aware of that and make sure you're drawing the lines as skinny as possible. Don't make the lines too thick. It's gonna not look the best, and it's also gonna come out not as even as it should be. So again, we're alternating. I just like to place a dot where I'm going to polish black. That way I don't have to think about anything. I can just go in and polish them all. This is what I have here. You're going to cure that and apply a second coat if you need to. I know one of my squares was looking a little opaque, so I did go back in and polish the squares again so they're a little more darker. Now we are going to start with the design next to the black parts which create the effect. You're going to need a blue, a lighter blue than that. If you look at my palette, you can see my light blue right next to that. You don't want to make this blue too dark. You want to make it so that's visible, but also not too light. So I am alternating where I apply that first blue color. As you can see, I'm doing every other square. And I'm doing both sides. After that, I'm going to start with my red. And I'm sorry, this part is a little blurry, but I'm basically applying a red line where I didn't apply that blue line. So if we're starting from the top, you can see the line is blue, then it goes to red, blue, then it goes to red, then it goes back to blue. So you're going to alternate, and you're going to do this on both sides. With the red color, you want it to be somewhat of a brighter red. So try not to use like a deep burgundy or a deep brownish red. Try to use a red that's a little more bright red or true red. After you have made those red and blue lines, you can go ahead and cure that. So this is what your nail should look like. So you see I have a blue line, then it goes into red, blue, red until you can't no more. Again, my nail is longer, so if you have a shorter nail, you're probably going to have less squares, but it should alternate. So after you have cured it, you're going to go in with our next colors, which are blue and yellow. The light blue is going to go next to the dark blue, so you're just going to make a line right next to the dark blue, and you're going to do that next to all of the darker blue lines that you made. And then you're going to go in with a yellow and make a line right next to all of the red lines. And that's actually all there is to this design. After you have made those lines, you can go and cure it. And if you need to touch up anything, you can. Like in some parts, my light blue went over into the black a little bit. That's fine. I can just clean it off or go over it with black, but you can just touch up your design as needed. Just a couple of tips, like I mentioned earlier, please try to have adequate amount of space in between the black and the white squares, because as you can see, we are adding colors into that white spacing. So you don't want a space that's too small and then you have all your colors crammed in there. Also try not to make the lines, the blue lines and the red and yellow lines, too thick. So this is how it looks, and I have a matte top coat on this. I love how it looks with a matte top coat, and this is how it looks with a glossy top coat. I'm going to show you guys a half a set of each design that I do at the end of the video. So now we're going to get started with the next design, which is easier. Okay, so this design is just swirly lines. How you do your swirly lines is up to you. This is what I did here. I created 4 swirly lines. Now that middle line that I'm working on right now, I would say I would have actually taken that out or made it smaller, because we're going to do the same technique on this design as we did with the first design with the lines, and I kind of didn't have a good amount of space. So keep that in mind when you're making your swirly design. But after you have all of your lines down, you're going to cure it, and you're going to do the same thing as we did with the first nail. We're going to apply a red line right next to the black one, and you're going to do this on all of the lines. I am applying the red and yellow lines on the outside and the tops of the lines. So this middle line that I'm doing here, I ended up wiping off, and you guys will see that I leave that in there so you guys can see. But I'm making the red lines on top and then the blue lines at the bottom or the inside of the swirls. So now I'm starting with the blue lines going inside, starting with the darker blue, lining all of the black lines that I have made with the red polish and then the blue polish, and then I'm going to go in and cure that. So here is where I realized that I meant to put that red line on top. So I just wiped it off. Luckily I did that before I cured it. Just wiped it off. And then I'm going to go in and apply the blue line at the bottom and the red line on the top. I originally had the red line at the bottom. I just wanted it to all match up. So after I'm done with that, I'm going to go in with the light blue, and I'm going to apply that next to the dark blue like we did with the first design, and then apply our yellow color next to the red. So in this part here, you're going to see how close my lines are. If you haven't noticed it already, it's mainly on the side of the nail with these 2 swirls. So this big swirl, I'm adding the blue color, and then you see the swirl that's in the middle. That blue line is very close to the red line. And next to the red line, I have to add yellow. So my colors are fairly close. So just be careful. Think about that. You know, once you do the black line, you have to add 2 lines on each side of it. So make sure you have a good amount of spacing in between it. It turned out fine, but just keep that in mind. I'm also going to make a half a set for this design as well. That way you guys can kind of see it, how it looks on your hands as well. When it comes to the swirl designs, you can just Google like swirl nails and you should get a lot of inspiration photos that come up, or you can just kind of go with the flow and make some swirly designs on your nails and try not to overthink it. But here goes the finished nail, and that was a glossy top coat, and then this is a matte top coat. I love how these designs look with matte top coat, so I just wanted to show you how it looks with both. So here I am working on my swirly design set. So as you can see, I'm just kind of making random swirls, and again, just trying not to think too much, but trying to leave some space in between the swirls so we don't have it too jumbled up. And I'm just gonna do the same thing. I'm making my red lines, well, red and yellow lines. I keep saying red lines, but red and yellow lines on one side, and then my blues on the other side. And for this set, I am going to apply a matte top coat, and for the other set, I am going to use a glossy top coat. And this is how they came out. I think they're really cool and interesting to look at. Let me know what you guys think. Which design do you like better? I know the checkered board one seems like it's a little hard, but I promise it's not. Just a little more time consuming. So take your time, try to have a steady hand. And again, if the swirls are too hard for the checkered board one, you can just make a regular straight line checkered board. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.